Hi, everyone. Welcome to SheBC. I'm your founder and host, Gayatri Sarkar. Today is an exceptional day because today we have a storyteller who happened to be a venture capitalist, but also a two-time NBA All-Star. So welcome, Baron Davis.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on this show because you're the first male storyteller on this panel.
Oh,
Because
wow.
yes, and you're also the first time a player talking about venture capital. And I think it is very important for people to know how you have come from being an NBA All-Star to where you are right now. I would like to give a little bit background about Baron Davis to people
Okay.
who had no idea who Baron Davis is, especially those who are living under the rocks. So
Okay.
this is what Wikipedia and Crunchbase says about Baron Davis. He has played
Uh-oh.
against,
Uh-oh.
so he has played against New Orleans Hornets, Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Clippers, Cleveland Cavaliers, and New York Knicks. Baron has started playing college basketball from UCLA,
Mhm.
where he was an All-American honoree before turning professional after his sophomore year. He was a prodigy and a star high school player at Crossroads School. Beside NBA career, he is also well known in the film industry. He's a member of the Screen Actors Guild Award. He has multiple companies, Slick, Black Santa, Beg, and he also recently joined on the advisory board of Tinley Beverage Company. He had done multiple startup investments. That includes Overtime, Uber, and many other things. So this is all about what internet is saying about you, but I would love to know who Baron Davis is as a person.
Uh, I like to have fun. I like to make jokes. I think for me, it was a kid who understood that basketball was a business and paid attention to a lot of the lessons that were being taught and a lot of the lessons that I was seeing happening before my eyes with, success stories with teammates and, people that I looked up to. And, instead of following kind of like the negative trend, it was like follow the guys who are successful, follow the guys who are actually committed to basketball and are saving their money and investing their money in different things. And so as a young basketball player, it was like I was always like entrepreneurial and always curious about, just different industries or, just curious about what people did.
That's
And as a
amazing.
creative person, it was just like, how can I always help? Or I had creative ideas. And then I would say when I was young in my NBA career, I think my second year, I decided that, when my contract was up, I was going to be my own agent because
Wow.
one was going to be a better manager of me than me. And I don't think my agent really knew, who I wanted to be, the things that I wanted to do. So if I was my own agent, then I would take my agent fees and invest in, kind of building out what I would consider like my entrepreneurial endeavors. And so that's kind of how I started, just really like learning how to take care of myself, survive, do for myself, but more importantly, like listening and taking internships every summer to figure out like who and what industry and who are the people I should be learning from. And in the case of an athlete, it's like they're great people and they're not so great people. And so, the goal is to get as much information as you can and figure out who you are in that situation. And so, in a nutshell, I would say that's kind of like me and in my journey, how I got here. And other than that, I just like to
Have
crack
fun.
jokes. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I
That's it.
love that. I love that. And I think one of the things that speaks volume about who you are, that having a strong IQ, you had a strong EQ of understanding what are the dynamics in the business that you are playing. First, I would like to thank you for coming and making time. I know how busy you are, especially because this is the NBA All-Star Big Summit. I
Yeah.
would love to know about what's your motivation behind such an amazingly successful platform.
Well, I think it's the opportunity to meet people like yourself, right? So,
Mm,
for me, it was the opportunity once I stopped playing basketball to go to conferences, to be invited to like dinners and things like that. And I just realized that there was no one that looked like me. There was no one that had my background. There was no hardly any people of color. And so I kind of set out on this journey to figure out like where are the women? Where are the, people of color? Where I thought BC, had a different type of, look and feel and face. And so when that wasn't really necessarily discovered, I decided to create business inside the game. And I said there needs to be a platform for the others, right?
yes,
And that 99% is really the majority. And so if we can build a platform and an event series and a management system, right, that allows us to give access to the 99%, the tools that the 1% have, then we would rather invest with the 99% because we know what the world looks like. And
absolutely.
so that's kind of like our thesis, our analogy on big and why I came up with it.
I love that because venture capital is such an esoteric industry.
Yeah.
There's no MBA that prepares you for it. I remember I had such a hard time getting into the industry, working at Goldman, Fed, and coming from Ivy League school. Your journey as a VC, as an investor, is amazing, especially because after NBA All-Star career, now you're investing in amazing companies. What prepared you in your life to be an investor, and what are the market opportunities that you see that actually excites you that, okay, this is something that I want to invest?
Well, I think for me, it's people relations, right? And understanding, who are the smart people and which teams, right, are actually doing it the right way. And, for me, it's always like about taking the internship, taking the learning process before. And with that, I started to, I'd always been an investor. I think when my first deal I did with vitamin water, I invested in vitamin water and took an equity deal outside of like going to take a marketing deal with Sprite or Pepsi or somebody like that. And I
And
saw that
which year was that?
very early.
Exactly. That was long time before equity investment was a thing.
It was, and it was a long time before athletes were even thinking about doing deals like that, right? And I think now it's almost like the traditional model of if I am a VC or if I have a company, if I can get an athlete or an influencer, then that's going to kind of make my company. And for me, it was always looking at I would want a company to really kind of outgrow me and outgrow my brand. And so I'd rather have the opportunity to use my platform and my ecosystem and my network of people to help that company and help that brand kind of use me as a platform to accelerate and grow past whatever I could imagine. And that's that was like my strategy as a kid. And my strategy hasn't changed at all. It's continue to grow the network of people, continue to bring in the right people who are looking to invest, right, who are
Correct.
experts in different industries, and just try to the fun part of my job is playing connect the dots, right, and being able to connect people and listening and hearing where their needs are, and hopefully being able to be added value in that process.
Yeah, you're definitely doing it. I think you are actually now a mentor to so many basketball players. They're looking up to you, you know. One of the things I would love to talk about, especially the time that we are living in, it's a very different time.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a very different time for our country. And I think January has been a little bit difficult for NBA, the passing away of obviously of Black Mamba, David Stern. Both of them are very well known, NBA player, NBA commissioner, but both of them had also been very prolific investors. Have you ever got any tips from them for investment, and what have you learned from their investment style?
Yeah, rest in peace to David Stern. Great commissioner. I came in with David Stern.
Yeah.
And so, David Stern was always about, the business of basketball and the globalization of basketball. And, for me, I think uh, having, moments with David Stern where I would go into his office and, just talk about the NBA and, talk about business, talk about LA. And he would always tease me about the movie industry. Um, having somebody who had the foresight,
Yeah.
right, and wherewithal to understand that this game is not just a game of basketball, but it's also a game of compassion, right? And he always said that basketball is a golden opportunity to, create peace amongst the world, right? And I think Kobe Bryant was the first athlete to really, you know, um, kind of stand on that platform, right? And his reach across the world, through, his success on the court, but then also off the court, taking his same mentality and applying it to the things that he wanted to do was also very inspiring to young NBA stars, who grew up wearing his shoes and, wanting to play like him. And so when you talk about, true leadership and the loss of two leaders, um, for me, it's extremely sad because those are people that, you think that you're going to be, at investment dinners with and, at award shows with and, really
Yeah.
get an opportunity to, kind of, praise them and tell them, how much they meant and how much they mean to you. That's, it's tough to to not be able to um, have that moment,
Yeah.
right? But for me, it's like taking that inspiration and that influence and saying, there is still an opportunity. There's still the seeds that have been planted, and we want to continue their legacy. We want to continue their vision, as a collective, as, all NBA players and, past and present. And I think that we're all devastated. And hopefully this will, be a moment where we can understand and figure out a way to use, our collective platform to really, um, really bring about change, in all industries and really use basketball and sports as an industry to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And I think technology, as we call it, is eating different verticals. Technology is now eating sports.
Yeah.
And there's so much of opportunities happening. And I feel like this is the right time where we are seeing sports industry as an asset class of
Yeah.
investments. And we
Right.
are looking at that. And that's why you're seeing so many deep tech investors, especially like me, who are coming in this industry and telling like other tech entrepreneurs, come and invest in this area, come
Right.
and build in this area, and use the athletes as your star power for network effect. One of the things that I would love to touch base is like, you and I are not that age apart, but you happen to play with some of the greatest basketball player of all time. And like, have you ever got starry-eyed when you played with Michael Jordan or Shaquille? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, absolutely. Look, these are the people you idolized as a kid growing up. You kept their basketball cards. You watched all their commercials. You tried to buy their shoes if you could afford them. But it was like, your imagination can take you so far. And it actually
absolutely.
like led you right to the front door and you like open your eyes and it's Michael Jordan or it's Shaquille O'Neal. And it's just like, an amazing dream to have. And at that moment, you have to realize, like, okay, if I continue to look at this person with this, gaze and this, this influence in my eyes, they're gonna crush me on the court, right? So I better I better show a different look because I can't give them any advantage to see, how much of a fan, you are. But it's that I think that's the beauty of basketball is, guys, you don't want to give anyone an advantage, and like the last advantage you want them to see is like how much you admire them for being
Yes.
so great, right? Until after the game, right?
Yes. Amazing. I mean, my last question to you will be that with Big Summit 2020 coming up, what's your preparation and what do you think should be the legacy of Baron Davis as a player, as an investor, philanthropist, and also as a devoted father? You love your two kids.
Yeah. The first question with Big is we're excited because All Star Weekend, NBA All Star Weekend Chicago is going to be our third year, and basically we've almost sold out of tickets. So we're going to have a great panel talking about discussing mental health, also discussing like prison reform and how do you really reform, also going as well as who are the technology influencers and culture pushers in this new industry of sport. Have some special guests, Michelle Roberts, who's the head of the MBPA, Adam Silver, he's stopping by. It's going to be a ton of athletes sitting on panels. And the goal for us is to really have, a rock star event, but to look out in the crowd and for the people looking out on the panel, looking out in the crowd to see themselves, and the people in the audience to look on the panel and see themselves. So we have Thursday night, Friday, Saturday is our big summit at the Ace Hotel Chicago. So just ready to just spread the message, connect people, and hope for an incredible all-star game in honor and tribute to David Stern. Most importantly for me, to honor Kobe Bryant and his legacy and things like that. So, just super excited about All-Star Weekend that's coming up. Excited
Yes.
to have you there.
Thank you.
And then as far as me, I would say my legacy is I just want people to know, like, oh, he was somebody who helped me get it done.
That's amazing.
Right. And at the end of the day, if I can be, and I can help entrepreneurs, if I can help investors, if I can help athletes, find the right placement, right, and then find the right opportunities, then I've done my job.
Thank you so much, Baron. You're a legend, and I'm so excited to have you on the SheVC. And I think a woman out there who are still sitting in that 2.2% status quo, they can learn a lot that how you have turned your career. And this is all about SheVC. Thank you, Baron, for your time.
All right, SheVC. Thank you.
Take care.